Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be covering something called a posterior day. The reason why this is really important is because hardly anybody does it, right? And if you're somebody that runs a business or you sit down a lot, you work a lot, your posterior chain is probably weak. And the posterior chain is basically the back of the body, okay? So this workout that we're going to do is going to help alleviate tightness. It's going to strengthen like the glutes, which is really, really good. It's going to help with improving posture, alleviating any pain that you've got, and it's just going to help improve your overall functioning, right? And then when you're looking to, get into transforming your health, it's not just about looking good. It's really about being able to move well, not getting back pain, being and feeling good when you're running around and playing with the kids. All this shit is important as you start to get older. So I'm going to run you through the exact exercises that you need to do for it, how to do them, the reps and everything like that. So let's do it. Okay, so number one that we're going to start with is a dead hang. Now, dead hang's great because number one, if you're just starting out training in the gym and you can't do a pull-up, this is a really good movement to actually just get used to hand placement, grip strength, hanging from the bar, that kind of thing. But also, it's going to be good because if you sit all day, your posterior or your back, your shoulders, the upper traps is going to be so tight. So this is a really good stretching movement that's going to help you with alleviating that tightness, as well as improving grip strength and everything that you've got there. So I'm actually going to run you through how to do that. It's so easy. All you need is basically a bar and you essentially hang from the bar, hence the name, the dead hang. Super easy. So I'm going to show you how to do it now and kind of run you through it. All right, so we're going to start with the dead hang, and all you need really here is a bar like this. You just take a grip kind of just around shoulder width apart like this. And then obviously here, what you can see is that it's a little bit the bar's not that high. So you just kind of want to bring your knees up a little bit to the front and just hang from the bar like this. Now you don't want to sit your shoulders too much in here because it puts your scapula in a compromising position. So just kind of like this here, holding yourself up slightly so your neck's not in the pocket, and you just kind of hold yourself here. And you can kind of sway from side to side just to let that kind of stretch happen in the back. And what you're doing here is you're stretching out your lats, your shoulders, your traps and everything there. And like I said, if you sit all day, this is absolutely a game changer. So you just hang here. And then if your grip strength's not great, you just kind of take a little rest for 20 seconds, right? And then when you feel like you're ready, you kind of just jump back on. You can time yourself as well. You can do like 20, 30 seconds, whatever's easiest. You just kind of jump back on. So hands around shoulder width apart, knees up a little bit. And then you just kind of hang from there, like that. Swaying side to side, holding that for as long as you can until you feel your grip goes. And then you go like that. So this is such a nice, easy one that you can do. Super simple, you don't even need that higher fitness level either. It really just allows you to get that stretch, gets those muscles nice and loose, and then it lets you get into that next movement that you want to get into. All right, next exercise we're going to do is a back extension. Now, this is a good exercise because I think a lot of the back and even like the glutes and the hamstrings, they're neglected a lot. Like when we train back day, I know for years, all I did was rows, pull-ups, all of this kind of stuff. But the lower back is so important because as you get older, when you're bending down, if you're running around playing with the kids, if you just generally want to have a good posture and move well, then your lower back is key to allowing that to happen. So this exercise doesn't actually hit the lower back, but it strengthens the lower back. So it's called a back extension, but really what you want to focus on with this exercise is really hitting the glutes and the hamstrings, because if these muscles are strong, then your lower back is also going to be in a much more dominant position or a stronger position. So I'm going to run you through how you can do this exercise right now. Okay, cool. So this is how you set up on the back extension. You basically want to have your feet locked in here and then your knee and your quad kind of on this bar here, okay? Now, when you come down, again, what we want to think about is, okay, glutes and hamstrings. We don't just want to be flying up and down with this exercise and this movement. We really want to engage the hamstrings and the glutes. Okay, so as we come down here like this, we come down slow, and I can really feel that in my hamstrings. Now, we don't need to come all the way down here, but we just need to be here, tensing those glutes and those hamstrings, coming down to about here, curvature in the spine, and then coming back up. Now, we're nice and slow. Bit of a curve in the spine, and then back up. Okay, so we're not swinging too much, we're not doing any of this stuff, just nice, and I can really feel that even without any weight. Up, and then there, okay? So as you start to get stronger here and get used to this movement, you can actually use a plate and come up and down and actually start to load this exercise a little bit heavy. But if you're doing this with the right tempo, like you saw me do, you're going to feel that in your glutes and your hamstrings so much more, and it's going to be a good movement for you. And again, that's really going to help with, activating his glutes, which are not used a lot when you're sitting all day, right? Like you sit at a desk all day and you're not feeling that at all. So just getting these active are good. Putting this at the start of the workout to just kind of activate these muscles is going to be really, really useful for you and really strengthen that posterior chain. Cool, so exercise number 3 we're going to be covering today is a face pull. Now anyone that's followed me knows that I've done this exercise for a long time. The reason why I like this is because if you get external rotation, it's going to help prevent the rolling of the shoulders, right? So if you sit at a desk all day, your shoulders are probably like this. You slouch forward, your pecs are a bit tight, your shoulders are not back, and what that is internal rotation that's causing that just from sitting, typing, and just tight muscles and weak back muscles. So what we're going to do is a bit of external rotation with the baseball, and what that's then going to allow you to do is bring your shoulders back more, improve your posture, strengthen those muscles out the back of the shoulders and the back, and then what that's going to also allow is opening up your chest. And if you can stretch out your pecs while doing this, you're then getting the good combo that's going to allow you to have a better posture, and this is just good for your posterior chain. So I'm going to run you through how I do this now. The cable machine's set probably around face height because we want to do a face pull, we're pulling it towards our face. Now what we want to try and do is focus on a grip. Now a lot of people do it where they're just internally rotating here, right? So your shoulders are still in an internal rotation position here, which is not what you want. We want to focus on external rotation. So I actually recommend a grip like this where we're going to have more opportunity to externally rotate the shoulders. So as you can see there, I'm just sitting back into it, pulling this towards my face and trying to get my hands behind my shoulders. That's causing external rotation, and that is exactly what we need to help with this exercise. What you can also do is you can get 2 ropes, and a longer rope's actually going to work better for this. The reason being is it's easier to then basically get your hands behind your shoulders and activate that external rotation. But as long as you're following these cues, so making sure number 1, you have your hands like this to allow for external rotation, stood back enough so the rope doesn't touch this too much, right? The cable machine, and then we just externally rotate out like that. You're going to start feeling a big difference in regards to your posture, in regards to the tightness in your back, and everything you've got going on. Trying to bring those hands behind the shoulders to externally rotate. Cool, so next what we're going to focus on is a chest supported row. The reason why I like this is because a lot of people mess up their backs from doing heavy barbell rows, heavy free weights, right? And to be honest, you don't need to put that much stress on your lower back. A lot of people do it wrong, they load it too much, whereas chest supported row allows you to be strict with the form. And that's going to strengthen your back, and you're going to just get the best ROI from doing the movement. So you can use any kind of chest supported row. The key is really to just ensure that you keep your chest on the pad, hence the name, the chest supported row. With the grip, I like to use kind of a hook grip, because the way you want to focus on this is not pulling, you want to focus on basically using your elbows as the way to drive, right? You're not trying to yank with your biceps, you're basically trying to use your elbow to pull back, and your hands are hooks. And the further you can pull that elbow back, the more contraction you're going to feel in your back. So if you come here and set up, you can see I'm using it as hooks. I'm keeping that elbow as tight as I can to me, chest is on the pad, and then coming back. Now I'm going to get a great squeeze in the lat just from doing that. I'm not trying to yank it like this with a full grip. I'm just trying to keep it controlled, keep the elbow as close to me as possible, tight on the back, and then bringing it back. Now if you do this movement correctly, it's going to strengthen your back and it's going to be great for your posterior chain. The next exercise we're going to be covering is a Romanian deadlift, or an RDL. Now this is my favorite exercise to actually build the posterior chain because it really loads your glutes and it also loads your hamstrings. One of the things with this as well is once you get the form right, you can actually start loading this pretty heavy. I think the highest that I've got up to is something like 150 kilos, which is like over 300 pounds on this movement. And when you're moving that much weight with good form, like your glutes and your hamstrings going to grow, and also it's just going to strengthen the hell out of your posterior chain, which is the whole point of this. So I'm going to run you through the form now because this is really important that we do this correctly to ensure that we don't get injured and so that we're activating the muscles correctly. First thing we want to make sure that we do is actually take any rubber-soled shoes off, because as I've said before, if you're doing any kind of squats or deadlift with this cushioning, it's just going to prevent you from driving and putting force through the ground. And with this movement, we want to ensure we're pushing as much force through the ground to ensure that we can lift more weight and obviously get stronger. So I like to do this barefoot, or if you've got a pair of Converse or flat-soled shoes, those can work well. The way we want to set up here is obviously just have your feet around shoulder width apart. Now with the hands as well, you want to have the hands outside of the feet. I actually like to do this strangely with an alternating grip, right? I just feel that I'm strongest holding it like that. For some people, they like to do it underhand. You can also do it overhand, but my preference is just doing it alternating. So we want to come down here and we want to grip the bar just outside the legs. Now with this, when we drive up, we want to focus on really like leg pressing the floor and bringing this up to ensure that we can drive through the legs, activate those glutes and the hamstrings. So when we're coming here, we get our alternating grip just outside the foot stance, and then we're up here and we're driving up, okay? I can really feel that into my glutes. Now when we're coming down, we want to focus on hinging. What we want to focus with this is pushing our hips back as much as possible and ensuring our back's flat. So what I can do is use the mirror as a nice little moderator here of my form, and just bringing that bar down, sliding it down kind of the knees, and you can see my hips are going out, my back is flat as can be. We get to about here, and then we come back up. So I don't like bringing the weight all the way down. I like to keep the tension on the muscles all the time because it makes it more difficult. The back is so flat at around 90 degrees, and then we come back up. So taking a deep breath as we go down, nice and slow, feel the stretch, and then pop back up. And then bringing it down, nice and slowly as well. Now, if we're doing that and we're starting to load some weight, you're going to build a super strong posterior chain, and it's one of my favorite movements to do. Next exercise we're going to do is a hamstring curl. Now, we're actually going to do a lying hamstring curl. The reason I prefer lying over seated is because there's research out there to show that there's actually more EMG activity in a lying or even standing curl just because of the positioning. So I just think if I'm going to get some marginal gains from doing them led down, then why not? And I also find that I can load it a little bit heavier when I'm led down. I'm not sure why, I just think the positioning's a lot better. So with this as well, you want to ensure that you're doing it correctly, because there's a lot of incorrect form that I see with this, people rushing it, people not positioned properly, and a lot of people actually sometimes use their calves and stuff in this because the foot position isn't right. So I'm going to run you through how to do this now so we can do it correctly and just get the most bang for your buck with this movement. We basically want to come down here and kind of just bring our knees up into the point where the end of this machine is here, okay? We want to grip our hands on here and keep this nice and tight, and we kind of want the top of our ankles to be where you can see the weight is. Now with this, we kind of just want to curl up like this, keeping those hamstrings and glutes nice and tight. We don't want to be bringing our hips up, keep the hips locked down, and then we come down nice and slowly. So we come up nice and explosive, then a nice 1, 2, 3, nice and slow. Drive back up, feel the tightness in the hamstrings and the glutes. 1, 2, 3, and then come back down. So I feel this is just a great movement to end with as well, like the posterior day. It just allows you to get that little bit of extra volume on there and really just isolate those hamstrings, which makes such a big difference. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you found it valuable. This is a posterior chain workout that is going to transform the way that your body feels, strengthen all of your back, and improve your posture so you can move well as looking good. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.